I want to start today's masterclass with one question. What if the thing you've been chasing, yes, you've been chasing, isn't actually what you're looking for? Whether it's success at work, the relationship with your partner, the dream guy or dream gal, the $1 million, $1 billion. What if that isn't actually what you're looking for? For years, we've been taught the same story. Study hard, work hard, build a successful career, start a business, make more money, become successful, get married, have kids, get the home, get the boat, get the car, whatever it is. There's been a lot of shitting all over you by other people. And they think when you do all those things, then you'll finally be happy. Then you'll finally be safe. Then you'll be free. We see it in the movies too. It's all over the place, everywhere you look. It makes for a beautiful movie, a good story, but there's one problem. It's a lie. It isn't true. Because every day we see people who have everything we think we want. Guess what? Most of them are still very unhappy. Successful founders of businesses who can't sleep at night. CEOs who feel lonely and empty. Entrepreneurs who built the company of their dreams only to realize they no longer know who they are outside of it. So today I don't want to teach you how to become more successful. Yep, not important today. Not important for happiness. Today, although you might think success is important, it can be to you. Building wealth can be important to you. Creating impact also can be important to you. But today, I want to teach you something even more valuable to you. So that the other things, they can come, but not at a cost. Not at the cost of you. Today, what we're going to talk about is how to build a life where success, quote unquote, you know, that proverbial success that you've been told will be something that makes you safe, important, meaningful, attractive. Maybe it will. But today, I want to teach you how to build a life where it actually feels good inside out when all those things arrive. Because if success comes to you and you're constantly anxious, success just becomes anxious. If success comes to you and right now you're thinking you're not enough until you get it, then success is just another reason for something that you have to keep proving. Success doesn't create who you are. It reveals who you've been becoming all along. So why don't you become somebody that you want to be, somebody that you choose? That's what today's masterclass is all about. Not changing your business so much as the top priority. It's about evolving into the person who you want to be, the person who's building it. Over the years, after working with people from different backgrounds, right? Whether you're a W-2 employee, you're a C-suite executive, you're a business owner, whatever your background is, I've noticed something fascinating and powerful. Real transformation doesn't happen because someone hears a motivational quote or even listens to my podcast. It doesn't happen because they read another book. It doesn't even happen because they set bigger goals and they achieve them. Real transformation follows this evolutionary process every single time. Like I put it on an infinity loop. I'll make it easy for you. There's 4 R's I'm going to tell you about. And this process I'm going to teach you today has helped people change the way they think, the way they feel, and ultimately the way they live. The 4 R's, the 4 stages, goes like this. The first one, realize you can't change what you can't see. And most people are living from beliefs they don't even know. They've never questioned. They're on automatic pilot. So today we'll bring those into light. And so we're realizing not with just our prefrontal cortex, right? Our thinking mind, but our subconscious mind, where most of our programs run on automatic. We'll bring those into light today. Lots of light. After we realize, the second step is recode. Even once you have awareness, both consciously and what's been going on in your subconscious, it's not enough. The next step to recode is where we learn how to replace the beliefs that have kept you trapped. Just knowing them doesn't change them necessarily. I want you to choose something that actually creates freedom. And then I want to show you how to get your mind to trust you and believe them and follow you. Yes, your mind's following you. You are not your mind. It's a tool you have, just like your hand. A little bit more complicated, but still not who you are, just a part of you. How might we do that? Our third step, rewrite. Your new beliefs that you chose in your recode deserve a new life. How do you breathe them into life? You take action. Daily actions, sometimes small, sometimes big. We rewrite, leveraging neuroplasticity, those beliefs. We change our habits. We change how we make decisions. We change our small daily actions, because that is how we rewrite not only the meaning that we gave the past, but how we attract what we want into our present and shape our future that we want and deserve. Because your life is changed not just by what you theoretically know, it's changed by what you repeatedly do. And finally, where do we go after those three steps? Realize, recode, rewrite. To the most beautiful place ever. We reconnect the relationship we have with ourselves. The relationship that influences every decision you'll make. The relationship that determines whether success feels peaceful or feels empty or anxiety-inducing. The relationship that determines how you feel about everything outside of you. By the end of this masterclass, my goal isn't for you to leave feeling motivated. I want you to be motivated, but motivation fades, right? My goal is for you to leave seeing yourself and what's available to you differently. Because the moment you change the way you see yourself, you change the way you see your life and what's available to you every single day. The way you make decisions, the way you relate to others, the habits, all of it. And what we do today changes not only today, but your future in the most beautiful way. So I have one request before we begin. For the next 60 minutes or so, don't listen to impress anyone. Don't listen looking for advice to give somebody else so you sound good. Listen for you. This is for you. This conversation is about you. Because maybe, just maybe, the life you've been trying to build doesn't need more hustle, doesn't need a better strategy. Maybe, just maybe, it needs you to be still enough today to be creative, to write a different story for yourself from the inside out. Let's start with realize. Part 1, the first step. I want you to ask yourself a question. I don't need you to answer it out loud. I just need you to answer it honestly to yourself. Ready? Close your eyes, maybe even. Maybe words will come up. Maybe images will come up. Maybe physical sensations will come up. Why did you start your business? Why did you start your business? Listen, what comes up? What do you feel? Maybe you start to get a sensation in your heart or in your stomach. Maybe your mouth is getting a little dry. I'm not sure. What are you feeling? Maybe the first thought that pops into your mind is, I wanted financial freedom. I wanted schedule flexibility. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. I want to build something meaningful. Those are all beautiful reasons. Now I want you to ask a second question. Why was that first reason so important to you? Maybe even write it down. So if your answer was, I wanted financial freedom, you ask yourself, why is financial freedom important? Why, maybe? So I wouldn't have to worry about money. Ask again, peeling layers back, getting to the root. Why don't I want to worry about money? So I could finally feel safe. Why is it important for you to feel safe? Keep going. Whatever it is, I want you to take time, maybe pause this podcast right now. I want you to be asking yourself 6 or 7 times. Another example, I wanted to build a successful company. Why is that important to you? So people would respect me. Well, why is that important to you? So I'd finally feel like somebody listened to me. Well, why is that important to you? So I'd finally feel like I mattered. Do you see what's happening? Every time you ask yourself why, you go deeper. You get to the heart of it. And very often, you'll see it's never been about the money. We're not chasing money. We're chasing a feeling. Safety, acceptance, belonging, recognition, love, enoughness. We're chasing a feeling. And there's a reason. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're needy. No, it's because you didn't get something that you needed and deserved when you were younger. So here's what most entrepreneurs don't understand. This is where they become trapped without realizing it. They begin to believe, and perhaps that they is you, was me back in the day. Perhaps you begin to believe that success is the thing that creates those feelings. Enoughness, worthiness, recognition, acceptance, safety, freedom, love. If my business grows, if I'm successful, then I'll finally be free. I'll be enough. I'll feel safe. If I reach $1 million this year, I'll finally be able to relax next year. Or if I reach $1 billion, then maybe I can retire someday. If people admire me, then I can finally admire myself. I'll finally be able to love myself. But let me ask you something. Have you ever reached a goal you once thought would change your life forever? Maybe it was graduating summa cum laude. Maybe it was, starting your business, making your first $1 million. Maybe it was getting married. Maybe it was getting promoted. I don't know what it is. What did you think would change your life forever? Got it? Now, Did it change your life forever? How did that happiness actually, how long? The happiness you thought it would give you, how long did it actually last? A year, a month, a week, a day, a minute? Then your mind quietly whispered, okay, what's next? The voice inside of you is one of the biggest thieves of happiness until you write the script. When the voice inside of you has been written by somebody else, from somebody else's fears, it usually teaches us to postpone living. I'll be happy when. I'll be safe when. These are dangerous words. I'll be happy when sales increase. I'll be happy when I have a team. I'll be happy when I make my first million. I'll be happy when I finally become successful. I'll be happy when I can retire. But happiness just keeps moving further away. Not because you're doing something wrong. It's just that you've accidentally let your brain be trained to believe that happiness always exists in the future or because of something outside of you. Never now just because of what's inside of you. The happiest entrepreneurs realize something that changes everything. Remember, success is an amplifier, not a creator. I'm going to say that again. Success is an amplifier, not a creator. Imagine two people. Both receive $10 million today. The first person has spent, let's call him Harry. Harry has spent years practicing gratitude. He's spent years investing in meaningful relationships. He spent years learning how his mind, body, spirit works, taking care of himself, finding joy in the small moments. And then money is giving him just more freedom to live the life he already was in love with. The second person, let's call her Sally. Sally has spent years believing she's not enough, comparing herself to everyone, giving away, working hard, ignoring her health, working every waking hour she possibly could. And then when she was too tired to work anymore, she would either drink caffeine or drink bourbon. I don't know. Money didn't heal her patterns. Because once she got those millions, she worried about losing them. She worried about, could she keep it up? What would other people think? So you can see these are made up because I like that movie When Harry Met Sally. But I bet if you look around, if you get to know people, you'll find the Harrys and the Sallys. And you'll see this is true. Money just made visible the relationship they had with themselves, their life, and their world. That's why one entrepreneur became freer, right? Harry felt freer. He became more generous. He took more vacations. Well, Sally felt more trapped. She worried more. She worked more. She thought, I have to keep this going. She kept running. She kept hustling. success and money didn't create happiness. It just amplified the person they already were. And that happens with every human. So before we talk about changing your life, we have to become honest about the life you're already living. So now ask yourself, what am I truly chasing? Money and success, or the feeling I believe money and success will give me? You know the answer now, don't you? What is that feeling you want? To finally be enough? Permission to finally rest or have fun? What is the feeling? Because if you don't realize truly what you're actually chasing, you're going to be running and getting tired for a really long time, all the way to your grave. And that grave might come sooner than later. Many entrepreneurs will tell me my hustle, my stress, my anxiety, that's my edge. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think it's your fast pass to an early grave. And the life you did live, you've been chasing, spending your whole life trying to reach goals, external goals, without ever reaching peace. And again, remember what I said at the beginning, we are not judging here. We're loving. We're holding you in loving awareness. Because I don't want that to happen to you or anyone you know. I don't want you to build everything you've dreamed of only to realize you never learned how to enjoy it, or that it wasn't enough, or that you got there, but what was really important, the relationship with yourself, your health, the relationship with your loved ones, are actually connecting in a deep, meaningful way with loved ones, you missed out on. I don't want that for you. That's why realization is the first step. Not because awareness changes your life, but because you cannot change a pattern you cannot see. We need to wake up. We need to open our eyes. I do hypnotherapy as part of my practice, and people are like, oh, I don't want to be in a trance. I'm like, you're already in a social trance. Wake up. And once you wake up and you can see that all this was a lie that was causing you suffering, you then become awake and free to choose something different. Which brings us to the second step. Recode. Because realizing the story isn't enough, we have to now choose to create a new one. One that's yours truly. Not one you thought you needed to do because of somebody else, intentionally or unintentionally. If you're ready to recode, keep listening. So let's begin. Part 2, recode. So now you've realized something important. What was that? Do you remember? What have you been chasing? Remember? Wasn't the money. Wasn't success. It was the feeling you thought those things would give you. That's the payoff that you've either knowingly or unknowingly been chasing. And perhaps you've been running really fast, but in all the wrong directions. So let's get you leisurely enjoying the walk. Or maybe you enjoy the run, but it's a run you're choosing in a thoughtful, guided way towards something that actually will give you the feeling that you want, because you're starting inside out. So that feeling that you thought a success or money would give you, what is it? Write it down. And this is the part. This is the fun part. This is the creative part. This is the part where you might start to feel like you're using a different part of your brain. We're tapping into creativity. So take a deep breath. Sigh out. Ha, ha. And now let's have some fun. We've realized now that the belief that all these things would give us the feeling, but that doesn't automatically change our beliefs or behavior. So imagine you've lived in the same house for 20 years. You know every room, every light switch, every corner, like even when it's dark, you can navigate your way through. One day, someone builds you a beautiful new house across the street. Do you automatically start living there? Automatically. Do you know it as well? No. It's like when you wake up and you got to go to the bathroom, you don't have to think about which way do I walk to the bathroom? Or maybe you're a coffee drinker and that's the first thing you do. You don't have to think about it every morning without thinking. You'll get up and you'll walk to the coffee maker. So let's go back to our houses, right? I just moved into a new house. I love the new house. Every once in a while, a lot less now than when I moved in March, I would go to a drawer where the silverware used to be, right? To the left of the sink, but it's not that same drawer anymore. Not because the drawer is better in the old house or the drawer is better in the new house. It's just because it's familiar. Your mind learns to run on automatic with what's familiar. Your beliefs work exactly the same way. Your brain always returns to what's familiar. Even if familiar is hurting you, yup. Because it sees familiar as safe. Why? Because you're still alive. And it's the most risk-averse thing. So even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's hurting you, it's like, yeah, but you know how to deal with that. Even if you're working too much, even if you're drinking too much, yeah, but you know how to deal with that, right? So when the unknown, even if the unknown is better, your mind goes with what's familiar. Okay? So that's why simply saying, I'm enough, usually doesn't work. That voice, remember, will say, no, you're not. You haven't done this and you haven't done that. And you don't look like this and you don't look like that. You don't have this. So how do you actually recode the belief? Let's do it together right now. I want you to think about one belief that's been quietly running your life. Maybe it's, I have to prove myself. Maybe it's, if I stop working, I'll fall behind and I won't be able to pay my bills. Maybe it's, oh, I'll finally be lovable if I'm successful. Maybe it's, I can't have fun or really do what I want with my life until my kids are out of college. Maybe it's, I don't know. What is it for you? Stop and think. What's a belief that's been running your life that you don't want to run your life anymore? And it's okay if you're scared. We're not saying you have to let it go right away. I just want you to hold it into awareness. Got it? Write it down if you can. Not if you're driving. Just choose one for now. Maybe you have many. Just choose one. You can do this again later with many more. So now I want you to ask yourself the first question. Where did this belief come from? Not because we're trying to blame anybody. Everybody does the best they can. I truly believe that. We're asking because every belief has an origin. Where did your belief come from? Maybe you grew up believing that your love had to be earned. If you're a good girl, if you're a good boy, mom and daddy would love you. If you made money, maybe you were taught then you could be safe. Maybe people only praised you when you achieved something and kept achieving it over and over and over. And if you didn't, instead of getting praise, you got punishment. Sound familiar? Maybe your family struggled financially, so your brain learned, well, if I don't succeed, I'm not safe. Maybe your first business failed, and without realizing it, you promised yourself, I can never fail again. Or maybe your marriage failed, and you said, I'm not going to let that happen again. Here's what I want you to understand. Your brain, which is really primarily coded, your subconscious is primarily coded by your childhood experiences before you're 10 years old. You can go Google it or ChatGPT it. You don't have to believe me. It's science. So then let's just think, okay, let's say it's an inner child. Let's just say that, because I like to think of that part of my mind that way so I can have compassion for little Yvonne. So your younger self isn't trying to hurt you with these behaviors that are familiar but not really serving you. Your younger self this whole time is basically trying to protect you because it came up with what it could come up with when you were little, and that belief that was trying to protect you served a purpose when you were little, and it was the only thing that you could come up with. Seems irrational or illogical sometimes as an adult, but it didn't seem that way when you were younger. So we don't have to judge it. We're going to love it, not as in loving it, keeping it, but bringing it to loving awareness and being grateful for what it's trying to do and has been trying to do for you for a very long time. And at the same time, we're going to ask, is it still serving you today? Will it serve you tomorrow? Is the belief actually true? Let's test it. Say your belief was, my worth depends upon my success or my achievements. Imagine your child comes home, if you have a child, or if not, imagine any child, and they come home one day after failing an exam. Would you look at them and say, you have no value anymore? No. If you're doing it from conscious awareness and loving them, you'd probably hug them. And you'd remind them that one result doesn't define who they are. Say that same child came home and was getting bad grades over and over and over again. I know parenting is hard. If you look at them through the eyes of love, you'll say the same thing. It's okay. What's been making this difficult for you? How can I help? I want you to know I believe in you. I think you can do it. What would be helpful to you? How can I support you so that you can learn to support yourself someday? But doing it in a loving way. If you're doing it from fear, you can still be loving them, but if fear, you got a fear filter on your mouth. It'd be like I used to be, like, you're grounded until those grades get up. Not because I didn't love my child, because I was like, oh my God, I fear for him. Sometimes even incentivizing them, like, oh yeah, then you get this when you get these good grades. Then it's like, then I'm valuable, then I'm meaningful, then I deserve something if I've proven myself. Guys, this is hard stuff. And guess what? It was hard for your parents too. So this isn't about judgment. This is about how can I love consciously? Not just to my children or to a child, but to myself. Because my subconscious mind is probably still that of a young child. And when you can do that, that's when your old belief starts to crack. Not because you forced it to, because you brought it into loving awareness. You didn't try and judge it or stuff it down. You just looked at it. You loved it. Where did it come from? You got compassionate and curious. So here comes the third step then. Let's replace it. But don't replace that belief with a lie. This isn't about positive Pollyanna. So if your original belief, let's take this back, was, my worth, I'll be worthy when I'm successful, or I'll be safe when I'm successful. I don't want you to say, oh, I'm perfect, or I'm, successful automatically in my business, whatever it is, like anything you don't want or believe, don't say, because your mind will reject it. So instead, replace it with something that's true. Just to start. So instead of my worth depends upon my success, right? You can just say, my success reflects what I do, not who I am. Those are not the same thing, what I do and who I am. Your external success might reflect what you do and your actions, but it doesn't reflect your worthiness as a person, who you are. Let's try another one, a little more simple. Instead of, I have to be perfect, try, I can grow without being perfect. The only way I can grow is not to be perfect, right? If you were perfect, how could you grow? Nothing would ever change. You wouldn't learn anything new, and that would be boring and probably painful after a while. How about this one? Instead of, I'll be happy when I have more or achieve more, try this. I refuse to postpone my happiness while I build my dreams. Can you feel the difference? One creates pressure, the other creates freedom. I'm not asking you not to be passionate about your dreams. I'm asking you to be passionate about your dreams and to enjoy it along the way, knowing that you're worthy, and happiness actually comes from the inside out. So a lot of people out there are doing this, and that's kind of where they stop. They think changing the sentences and repeating the mantras change your life, change the belief. Not quite. Beliefs don't change because you repeat different words. It's a good start. Beliefs change because you begin to take different actions that give you different evidence. Think about how you learned to ride a bicycle. Nobody convinced you with words. You believed you could ride after you experienced yourself riding. There's a little girl outside of my house who was doing her little trainer bike and was so afraid and didn't think she could do it. And then the next week I see her and she's doing it and there's no training wheels and there's nothing. And she's so confident because she actually did it. So your brain trusts experiences more than affirmations. Affirmations help. We want experience to fast follow. So that's where step 3 in our 3 R's, realize, recode. Now it's time to rewrite. Part 3 of this really cool ride that we go on over and over on my little infinity loop, right, is rewrite. So now ask yourself, what's one small action that would prove to my subconscious mind that my new belief is true? If your old belief says, I can't rest, take the Saturday off without apologizing, without guilt. Notice what happens. Your business survives. Your world doesn't end. Celebrate it. And then say, I bet you I could even take a weekday off. Notice what happens. Again, the world doesn't end. Maybe some mistakes are made. Maybe some lessons. But that's where the growth is. So if your belief, for example, says, I have to do everything myself, right? This used to be me, right? I thought nobody could do it as good as I could do it, so I just have to do it. But then nobody else could learn. And then I didn't instill confidence in them, and our relationships weren't strong. Sound familiar? Do you think you have to do everything yourself? Do you want to do everything yourself? Probably not. It's just an old belief that says you have to keep yourself safe. But let's try it, test it, rewrite, delegate one task. Just one to start. Watch someone else handle it. Don't step in. Maybe they don't do as good of a job, but then it provides an opportunity for them to learn. Let them do it again, and they do it better. And maybe you enjoy giving them constructive feedback and support. I don't know. Again, though, new evidence. Let your mind see that you're not going to die. The world's not going to end. And slowly peel away the power behind that old belief that kept you stuck. Here's another one. If your belief says, I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect before I launch. It has to be perfect before I whatever. Launch anyway. Communicate anyway. Have the tough conversation anyway. If you do it from intention, my intention is that blah, 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 blah. As long as you communicate and you think about what your intention is, it doesn't matter if the words are perfect. It doesn't matter if the product is perfect. You led from heart and from intention, and watch what happens. People don't connect with perfection. And they sure as heck don't connect with people that pretend to be perfect. They can feel it. People connect with authenticity. People connect with your energy. Try it. Again, you'll get new evidence that it's safe to be you. It's safe to be authentic. It's safe to make mistakes and learn and grow. Do you see what's happening? Every action becomes a conversation with your brain, with your system, with what's been stored in your body, right? Where it thinks you're in danger and it'll like the sensations that come up because it thinks you need to run, fight, or play dead. And you're like, oh, I have anxiety. That must be a bad thing. No, it's just something new. And your body's trying to get you to do something so that you get to that feeling. But we've already realized the things that you've been doing aren't getting you the feelings that you want. So you have to retrain your brain and your body. And by doing this, going through this slowly, maybe sometimes fast. A lot of people that work with me at Limitless You, you can go check it out, unlocklimitlessyou.com, in a matter of 3 hours, they get to this realize, recode, rewrite, reconnection with the relationship with themselves, and their brain starts saying, ah, I don't have to carry all the weight of all those crappy old stories anymore. They get evidence that they can choose courage instead of fear. They can choose authenticity instead of masks. And every time they do, we celebrate it, and they collect more and more evidence. Every time that they rest without guilt, they collect evidence. Every time they have a difficult conversation, one that they've been holding back on that makes them feel resentful or sad or not enough, and instead they speak with love and intention, they gather evidence. And you can too. Each time you speak kindly to yourself after making a mistake, you collect evidence. Every time you celebrate your growth, you collect evidence. And then your brain says, that feels good. I'm evolving. I'm expanding. I'm becoming more of who I've meant to become. And then one day, without even noticing, the belief that once controlled your life that we started with at the beginning of today no longer feels true. It's, usually laughable. Myself, I laugh at myself all the time. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to think that was true. And most of my tribe feels the same way. There's levity. And then after levity, there's life. Not because we worked really hard and it was really scary and sad. No, we love each other and we support each other all the way through it. And we outgrow those things. We realize with loving awareness, they're meant there to protect us, to make us feel safe, to make us feel loved, but they weren't working. And so we recoded. We're not becoming somebody new. We're becoming who we are. We've always been. And once your beliefs begin to change, your choices change, your habits change, your life changes. And that change that used to be scary, nope, not any longer. Now it's super exciting. You've realized the old story, you've recoded the belief, and now you're creating your life. You're rewriting it day by day. Because you're learning day by day, you're growing day by day. It has nothing to do with external goals. It has nothing to do with business success. Yeah, business success probably will come. But not because you hustled so hard that you gave up your life. It's because you started living your life. How does that sound? If you are ready to rewrite your life in your story, you can really get to know yourself. And that's where we come to part 4. Reconnecting to the relationship with yourself. Some of you might have been avoiding that. I'm telling you, I'm inviting you to get to know yourself, your true self. That's what we'll do next. This is the foundation of everything that we've been talking about, from realizing what's been running your life, to recoding to what you truly want to believe, and to rewriting by taking action and getting your mind to fall in line to believe that you're safe and that you have a better strategy than the one that hasn't been working for decades, most likely. You know you're going to spend every single moment of your life with one person. You. I want you to wake up with yourself every morning and be happy, and go to sleep with yourself every night and be at peace. I want you to hear your own voice, both the one that you say out loud and the one that's quietly whispering in your head, and feel like it's loving you. I want you to feel like that's a good place to come home to, not a battlefield. So when something goes wrong, who shows up? A coach or a critic? I want you to be your best coach. So even when, say, you lose your biggest client tomorrow, the first thing I want you to say to yourself or to hear is, it's okay, you'll figure this out. You've overcome difficult seasons before. This sucks, it's painful, but it doesn't define you. That's what I want you to hear. My guess is usually it's something like, you messed up again. You're not good enough. You got to hustle harder. Who's to blame? So many entrepreneurs I've met, and including myself and the over 750,000 people that used to work at my company, not my company, but the company I worked for, believe that criticizing the individual or themselves is what keeps them ambitious. But let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a great coach motivate an athlete by constantly humiliating them, and the athlete being mentally and physically healthy? Please message me directly if you have. Love to study that. My guess is you're not going to be able to message me anything. Do great coaches challenge? Yeah. Right? Do they give corrections? Sure. Do they sometimes push? Yeah. But great coaches never make you question your worth. So why do we coach ourselves any differently? Maybe the greatest act of leadership isn't leading a team. Maybe it's learning how to lead yourself with wisdom instead of fear. Your relationship with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship in your life. I learned that the hard way. I want you to learn it a little bit easier than I did, a little bit faster. The relationship you have with your career, your business, the relationship you have with money, the relationship you have with success, with failure, with your significant other, with your children if you have them, with your family, all of it. It's determined by the relationship you have with yourself. If you abandon yourself, not giving yourself what you need, or even letting yourself desire what you want, every time you teach others how to treat you and life becomes difficult. No amount of achievement will ever feel secure if you are abandoning yourself. But when you become that coach who stays on your own side, who coaches you, inspires you without fear, judgment, shame, guilt, self-pity, all those things, they don't help you. We want to get rid of those because that's not in a good coach's tool belt. And then when you can coach yourself from love and understanding and curiosity and compassion, everything changes. Failure becomes feedback, information. How much do you guys pay for the information for your company, your data? Quite a bit. So why do we avoid getting good information as we learn and grow? It's valuable. It's gold. Failure is feedback. What is it telling you? What are you learning? And then rest becomes wisdom. You're not a robot. You need restoration. Study your human body and mind. How do you restore yourself so that your creativity increases, your innovation increases? That's wisdom. Running yourself ragged so that you're tired, less intelligent, less creative, that doesn't sound like a good strategy to me. And when rest can become wisdom and failure can become feedback, then success becomes something you enjoy, not something you desperately need and are chasing. I want to leave you with one final thought. One day, your business may become everything you dreamed of. Your revenue may exceed your expectations. People may admire your work. But when all the meetings are over, when the phone is silent, when the leads aren't coming in, when you're sitting alone with your thoughts, the quality of that moment will depend upon one thing. Not your bank account, not your title, not your achievements. It will depend upon the relationship you've built with yourself. So please do it. Build the business. Dream. Create the impact. All the while, never become so busy building your external life that you forget to build the person who will live it, the internal life. Because the greatest entrepreneur isn't the one who builds the biggest company. It's the one who builds a life they don't need to escape from. Thank you for being here. If you want to go further into exploring and expanding who you are and the life that you want, please just book a call with me. I'd be happy to guide you along the way. And at a minimum, just go take our free self-love quiz to understand how is this relationship with yourself working at 12 questions. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. Make sure that our emails don't go into your junk mail because they're going to have tailored insight based upon your questions. So go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz. Take the quiz, search for our responses, learn more about yourself, develop the relationship you have with yourself. And if you need any support, I'm happy to be a part of that story creation. You can book a free call at unlocklimitlessyou.com/call. The links are in the description. And until next time, remember the 4 R's. Realize the story. Recode the belief. rewrite the behavior. And most importantly, never stop building a relationship with a one person you'll spend the entire rest of your life with. It's time to become limitless you. Until next time, I'm your host, Yvonne Trost.